Leslie, you got a second?
I did.
Well, what we decided to do this year, and, you know, I'm glad we did it, I wish we didn't have to. We didn't do it. But what we did was we dedicated this year's report to Tim. Because Tim was just such a part of our community. For all the things he did for people, and all he did for just being here and being the guy we knew was Tim, you know. And I was appropriate that we do this, so I just wanted to give you this.
Very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Picture.
Thanks.
Picture in the front.
Sorry, see ya.
Tim.
It is Tim because he doesn't like making a I don't know, how should we do this?
Absolutely,
I know, wait,
just
no,
like
no,
that.
Find better looking younger people.
Right.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And here's a copy of the report.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations.
To be a test later, right?
Okay, back to our regular agenda. Privilege of the floor number one. Is there anybody here who would like to enjoy the privilege of the floor? All right, then we will move on and we'll start approving minutes. The first set of minutes to approve.
See, they are on strike. They're all going to stay here for the
Oh,
entire
no,
meeting.
Right?
You know, I have an item I'd like to go over before the water guys leave.
All right.
Yes.
Which one? Wastewater, drinking water?
Fresh drinking water.
car out here?
Yeah.
They left already.
Oh, they left already.
Can we get around back in here?
Need, Bill.
The question becomes, at the last meeting, and I've had a couple of people complain to me that there seems to be in the bowls of toilets like a black stain that forms. And I was wondering whether they found, I know, we mentioned it last time, whether they found anything, because I talked to Sissy again and she said, yeah, she's still getting it intermittently. It's not every toilet, but some, there's like a black stain forms at the water line.
Robert?
It's black, and it seems to be when you pour bleach in, it'll kill it, which scares me.
Well, that's a mold.
Yeah, right. So how's a mold, you know, getting in you know? Anyway, keep your eye open. If you see anything like that, obviously you'll.
Yeah. Now,
Work
the
on it.
residual in the water system is 0.29, 0.3, which is.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm not suggesting it's in the water, but you know,
It's in the toilet.
we've had a number of people comment
It's gotta
about
be
it.
an environmental thing.
Yeah.
Because we used to get that with, the gentleman lived over next to you, Nate?
Nate
No,
Grifkin.
Nate?
Nate Grifkin.
Yeah. And he would talk about the red ring around
Yeah,
his
the
cup.
pink, yeah.
Well, I get that at my house.
I have that too.
Yeah.
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 And I think that's just one of those, it sits there too long and something grows, science
Yeah.
experiment maybe.
Well, these are basically being, you know, these are homes. Some of the homes, the water is sitting there for a long time. Some of the homes, it's not.
Now, if it was the red stain, or if it was the iron stain, then I'd say.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it's
iron
black. It literally is a black stain. When you pour bleach on it, it kind of
Goes away.
goes away. But if you hear
We'll keep
anything,
an eye
keep
We'll
your
keep
ears
an eye
open,
on that,
will you?
yeah.
Yeah, all right,
All right,
okay,
Great.
now can we? Thank you.
All right.
yeah.
February 7th meetings. Anybody have anything on those?
I do. Because the date was February
It was February 8th.
8th.
So
It
is,
was really February 7th. No, it was February 7th.
Was it 7th? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
7th.
I had the.
Which
Yep,
one is
sorry.
that?
That was
these
the,
are the ones we
budget.
replaced.
these, one set came in your packet.
And we took those out.
And then I told you I had put 3 in there. There was only, the first one was good, which was the 7th, right? February 7th.
But it didn't say draft on it.
The one that was in the packet, I believe, was the one from February 14th, the full meeting.
Okay,
The
There
regular
was
meeting,
one
not
in
the-
there from February
February,
7th.
yeah, there was February
And it
7th.
says draft right across it.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
the date on the inside on the printed copy.
Is that the second
says
one you got or the
February
first one you
8th.
got?
That's the first one I
Yeah,
got.
in the packet.
The first one you got in the packet.
Right.
What I did was I replaced the one I had in the packet and added the supplemental one
That's
into my
correct.
packet. Was that what I was
That's
supposed to do?
correct.
Yes, that's
Yes.
what it was.
That is correct,
They were incomplete.
yes. The 14th and the 21st were incomplete.
Okay.
No.
And there was something weird that happened in the first one that was in there as well. On line, well, it's at the page break. So you get down to line 143,
Yeah.
and now you go to the next page and there's a bunch of stars.
That was where I had left off, so that's why they were incomplete. They were still, I was still working.
She was
Okay.
still
on the
working,
minutes,
so
Oh.
those
and
are
they
in the
weren't
second
completed.
package.
So that
that
was,
she sent
everything
you?
after that point was
Okay,
Gotcha, because okay,
previous.
Yeah,
okay.
yep.
Kind of
Okay.
use the same format
Mhm.
and just,
gotcha. Bill, did you have anything?
No, the only comment I have was relative to the ones on the 21st.
Okay,
Okay, so
Are we talking
let's,
about the 21st now?
no, we're still on the 7th,
Okay, no.
Seven.
or the 8th, 7th or 8th. Okay, we've changed the 8th to the 7th,
Right,
and can we get a motion to approve those?
I'll
so
make a motion to approve the minutes of the 8th,
I'll s-
7th/8th.
seven.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's move to the 14th now,
Yep. And that was
the budget meeting.
the 14th
No.
was
No,
your
no, it's our
regular
regular
meeting.
your regular.
Regular meeting,
Yep.
yep.
Okay, I went through, I didn't have anything on this one.
No, neither did I.
No,
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the
I will
14th?
make a motion to approve.
I will second, all in favor?
aye.
Aye, done. Let's move to the 21st, and Bill, you had a comment.
Yeah, here, line 35 is technically correct but misleading.
Okay.
Because it suggests, every time I read these, the way they're written, it suggests that, oh, we're only increasing spending by 17,000. It fails to mention that we're borrowing several hundred
And
thousands
we've
of
retired a whole
dollars.
bunch of debt.
Right, so, I know technically it's correct the way we keep accounting, but people need to realize when they read these that the town has made a decision to borrow a lot more money, and it's not free. It's not free money. You gotta pay it back.
So how would you suggest, should we,
Well, I don't know.
how about if we put something in there, we are retiring this much debt? To kind of show the trade-off, Mark, with that?
I think
Well,
you're between
it's-
two sets of minutes still.
I'm on the February 21st. What line?
I'm on the
21st.
21st, line 35. In comparison to the 2017 budget, the total
That's
increase.
not on my,
That's not-
Or the
that's not
proposed-
on my February 21st. What-
Oh, it is on,
You're-
I'm sorry. Oh, it was the bond,
So you're on the 8th,
the
back to the
8th.
8th.
Back
I'm
on the
sorry, on the 8th.
So-
We
so
already
Bill-
approved those, leave them alone.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
okay.
In comparison,
But
okay.
you-
But it is
know what I'm
important.
saying.
I
It's
do.
misleading.
And it's this number right here is
Right.
what we should be talking about. And I
Well-
understand. We'll figure it out for how to present it at town meeting.
Right. I
So that
just
we
want
don't
people
just
to
say that.
understand that
Mhm.
borrowing doesn't,
Right.
Yep.
doesn't come for nothing.
Right,
Understood.
but I also would like, back to that topic, to have something that say how much debt we've retired.
Yeah.
It's right here,
Right.
it's in here.
Yeah.
It is in here.
It's in here, but it's not in really
It's
easily
not
findable.
easily findable,
No, well,
unless
we'll-
you know how to read the
Yeah.
budgets.
We will,
Yeah.
we will talk about
Okay.
that. Yep.
All right, so we'll go back to the 21st.
Okay.
Is there a problem up on even though it says it's a workshop session, then it says it's a budget and bond issue public hearing?
Yeah, we should remove public hearing and
Right.
just say
Number 3, yeah.
informational,
Okay.
say informational meeting or information presentation. So, something like that.
How many people showed up?
20,
Yeah.
Oh, you did
Yeah.
have a fairly
25.
good
Oh, yeah.
turnout.
Yeah.
All right, very
Yeah.
good.
right? How many did you count?
I counted, there were 20 exactly.
20
Yeah,
exactly.
I signed the sheet, there was 20.
All right, excellent. So I will make the motion to approve the minutes of the, well, do we need, it's not real minutes.
Well, it's a workshop, so
Okay.
yes, you
I will
should
make a
approve
motion
them.
to approve the minutes of the workshop of February 21st. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, done. Now we'll go to finance. Now, Mark, you had mentioned that we're up in salt and we're up in,
Expenditures in salt and maintenance and overtime for snow plowing
Yeah.
is significantly higher than it was
Right.
last year.
And water is up, is that because we got chemicals in, like
Yeah.
we usually do every year?
Chemicals and we're actually producing, we've had a couple of days up over 300,000 gallons for the day, so that's a double our normal
And when was that?
day. Last weekend,
Okay, yeah, which,
and the first weekend of the holiday,
Mm-hmm.
so. And trash, where I was looking, we are actually, we had 68 tons of solid waste in the month of February, 20 tons of recyclables, which is one of our biggest months in the last 2 years. And we had 22.8% recycling, so people are doing a good job, and you know, it's much higher
Yeah.
than we have been doing.
do you
so.
think that's because we had a lot more of our property owners who are from other states where recycling is part of their normal routine where they've always,
Maybe, but it,
I think if we ran a trend.
Yeah.
And we took over the last, since we started the recycling program, I think you would see that it would, as the tonnage seems to go up because we have more guests, the recycling seems to be
Percentage.
A higher
few
percentage.
percentage higher, yeah.
so.
But we're still, basically, there's really no economic gain to recycling. Right now in prices
Not,
or time.
well, we're making a small amount per ton,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's not a huge amount. So we're still basically at the break-even
Okay,
point. It's not costing us much.
great. And you said 300,000 gallons?
Around
right?
300,000 gallons a day.
We've had a water loss.
A small
A
water
small,
loss.
a small water loss.
Define a water
We-
loss,
we
please.
thought- Well, we suspected that there was something wrong, but it was a little bit erratic. And we were making more water than we were taking in.
Taking in.
When you compared, the inflow totals versus the pumping totals
For
And-
water versus sewer.
versus sewer. And so, we,
oh, do they normally
Suspected
stay in
They're,
balance?
they're usually pretty close.
pretty close.
Okay,
And so we suspected that after having that first water main break, that maybe something else was
That we had
wrong
another
in the
one.
system.
Mhm.
But,
And did you find it?
we did,
We did.
And where was it?
and it was at the.
Reservoir.
At the reservoir. The,
You mean the tanks up on
The
Snow's
tanks
Mountain?
on
yeah,
Snow's
the,
Mountain.
the SCADA, there's a little glitch in the SCADA. There's either a module that went bad or,
Trans,
Uh,
Now, is the
transducer.
SCADA the counter?
yeah.
So it was a counting error, it wasn't an actual water?
So there's
Right,
a
it
little,
was- it
there's
was-
a float
Yeah.
that tells
Okay.
us what the level of the tank is,
Yeah.
and that malfunctioned, and the tanks filled up completely to the overflow, and the water started coming out of the overflow.
no,
Oh, so it was a
So
multifunction,
it was so,
multifaceted.
that's right, so what we've done is, we've turned off the pumps for right now, the reservoirs are full, so we have enough water, and we
Mhm.
have the repair people coming in tomorrow,
morning, yeah.
and they're gonna replace the transducer that,
So the SCADA is like a float valve?
The SCADA
Yeah,
is
they're-
actually the system that kind of watches
Reads.
over everything
Reads
and
it.
runs things.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
triggered by a float valve.
that's right, there's
That
a,
is, that's what transmits the signal.
Basically, to
That's right.
put it in simple terms, a
Yep.
float valve got stuck, allowed the tank to overflow, not on a
Right.
continuing basis.
And
but,
where did that water wind up going?
just down Snow's
Right,
Mountain.
right behind, it ends up on the golf course.
ice.
Yeah, but was that noticeable to anybody, on
Not
the
until we
ground?
started looking
Not,
for it.
not until we, what we ended up doing was we said, okay, we suspect we have a leak because we just had a water main break. So we
Yeah.
went around town for a couple of days looking
Yeah.
and listening. And we listened on almost every hydrant we've got. We could not detect anything. And so then we really and nothing was bubbling up in the
Yeah.
roadway. But there are some places around town that we know if excess water is coming out of the banks, flowing into a ditch line someplace, that
Yeah.
there may be a,
Gotcha.
and then we test the water. So we tested everything, everything came up negative. And then yesterday, when things were a little colder, the runoff was not running except in one place.
Hmm.
So I followed it all the way up and actually found
Yeah.
where it was coming out of the overflow pipe.
All right,
Okay. All right, any questions for the financials folks?
Well,
No.
we also wanted, I also put in the packet about the rec department. She's significantly ahead of the 5-year average, so we're 70% higher than the
And
5-year
What do you
average.
attribute that this year?
It was a busy February vacation week.
Bad weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess in a nutshell.
Drives them inside, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're significantly ahead of where we usually are,
Right.
so.
Good, keep it up.
Well, no.
No,
Yeah, I
we
know.
need good,
It's like
we need good weather.
Yeah, right. It'd be better if the ski
People are very
was.
appreciative that there is the rec department though. We
Yeah,
open
right.
to them during
There's
those
an
times.
alternative.
Well, I've heard a lot from residents and visitors.
Yeah,
All right, so why don't we continue on with department heads, and Brooks, you can talk to us. How are we doing for New Hampshire week?
It's much slower, but we still have some things on the calendar. People are still coming to use open gym, and we even did a dodgeball tournament, which was new for us. We really didn't feel like we would ever have enough people to do it, but we put it on the calendar. We had a
Yeah.
small group interested, and that worked out well yesterday. We have a pretty normal schedule throughout the week, and then we have Special Olympics this weekend, which is,
Sunday.
big on our calendar.
the Special Olympics kids are coming next week?
Sunday,
Sunday.
On Sunday, and they are pretty much, they're all over the valley, but they'll be using the rec department on Sunday and Monday for their dance and their resort activities experience, or resort experience that they do. They'll be doing archery tag and build a bit like.
Well, at least they won't freeze to death.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be
weather.
warm next week too?
I think it's supposed to be
Yeah.
like
Well,
in
it's
the
supposed to be a
40s.
little cooler,
Yeah.
but,
still in the 40s, not in
Nice,
the
yeah.
Yeah,
20s or teens.
So
Right.
they come into the fire station too?
They usually do.
yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
all over. I
They'll
think
be all
they're
over.
gonna be barbecuing at the rec department in the parking lot on one day.
For lunch?
I presume.
Just kidding.
Um,
There's a lot of talk about food at town
Oh,
hall right
oh,
now, because
really?
we're all
Yeah.
hungry.
We don't barbecue salad.
That's right. That's about it. We're all on a
Not
diet.
big.
No, we're
Yeah.
all on a diet,
We're
so
doing
we're
a
You're all on a
doing
diet,
a
collective
challenge,
diet,
Collective
a health
diet.
challenge,
Oh,
yes.
boy.
health
among us.
challenge. Yeah.
health challenge.
Yeah.
And somebody keeps buying my department pizzas.
Guilty.
Yeah.
All right,
So there's really nothing more to say.
all right.
That's it.
Everybody's happy and healthy in your staff?
Yep, things are good.
Good.
I did hire, a camp counselor, or offered her a position she accepted, and just trying to make sure I've got all our bases covered for
Summer.
Great. All right, Jim?
Well, we've talked about most everything. The salt situation, the overtime situation, the little water situation, and we're just patiently awaiting the outcome of the next big storm.
Now,
which
Friday.
Could be a big deal, or it could be nothing, so we'll see.
okay, and that small break that we had up on Snows Mountain,
Yes,
what did that cost to fix, you think?
I have not seen the
We
bill
haven't
yet.
seen a
Just
bill, but it's
from
gonna be about
typically-
3,500 to 4,000.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and you're coming up with a formula for road maintenance as soon as the roads get cleared away, getting up and figuring out what's getting.
We've started with potholes already.
What about Cascade Ridge, that corner there?
That corner there, we have to wait until the shoulder actually thaws out, and we could actually get some material in order to temporarily fix it.
Okay,
But most everybody's material piles are frozen solid, so.
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
okay.
And Chris got a call, as you heard,
Yeah.
and so the biggest thing, they're spending a lot of time getting ready for Special Olympics.
Sure.
We've had the the first food drop-offs have happened, and so they store stuff here, and they'll be, like Brooke said, at the rec a lot, so they'll be around. Mike, are you available for
I'm not
Sunday
here
night?
Sunday night, I'm away
Okay.
this weekend.
All right. Anybody else wanna do the
I'm not
welcome?
available.
You're not? Do you wanna do the welcome?
Sunday night?
Sunday night,
What time?
when the athletes come in. I
Welcome them.
I
to
think
our
it's like
village.
seven,
Yeah.
It's gotta be
seven
your
or
turn, Bill.
7 o'clock,
right.
7, something like that. I can email you the time if you want.
I think I am back by then.
Okay.
I
I'll
take
email you
Sandy
the
to
time, and
airport,
if you
but,
can do it,
But
then-
I am coming home.
Okay, so
With a smile?
Of course,
you're batching it too. There you go.
yeah, for a week.
So I'll email you, Bill, and
Okay, yeah,
I'll get the time.
sure.
Okay.
Now, I know Chris is not here, but Mark, if you would
Yeah.
ask him for me, just one question.
Yeah.
From his perspective, is there anything we should be doing at the school that we're not doing to ensure the safety of kids there?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't think there is, you know, I hope there isn't, but,
They regularly exercise
I
their
know,
programs,
right,
and
but-
so I'll talk to them.
yeah, I don't wanna go to the school, cause the school will, you
Yeah.
know, they'll use it as an excuse to spend more money. But if in his opinion, there is some things that we should be doing that
Yeah.
we're not doing,
I
You
believe
ought
that
to at
running
least
a
know about
training
those.
drill this Friday.
Yeah. All right.
They did bulletproof glass.
well, I know
Too
they've
long
locked
ago.
all the doors, the
Right.
entrances, you
Yeah.
know. And,
Well,
you know,
I'll make sure he and
yeah,
Dave
it-
get
it-
you an
but,
answer.
You know,
Yeah.
he's the
Yeah.
expert. so.
Mhm. Okay, we can do that.
Okay. Calendar review. The next meeting will be after town meeting.
Yeah.
Planning board is on the 8th. Town meeting is on the 13th. And we should probably talk about who wants to do what shifts on the 13th.
Hmm. That is on March 13th?
Yep.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Wednesday.
When, Tuesday,
I'd be more than,
13th.
my only dilemma is that I'm gone from about 1 to 2.
So
Other
we,
than that,
Well, why don't I do 12 to 2?
So you
Okay,
open
okay.
at 11 though.
Oh, we open at 11?
No, at noon, sorry, noon to
12?
5.
12
Yeah,
to 2.
12 to 2.
okay, and
2, and then you
I'll do
want me to
2,
come from 2 to,
I'll do 2 to 4, so you don't have to rush back.
well, I'm not rushing back
But
at
you know what I
2
mean.
o'clock, but anyway, so you want me to do 4 to,
2.
4 to the meeting starts?
Yeah.
Right,
Okay,
you can
that's
help
fine.
count the balance.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Okay, so let me put that in, so I'm 2 to 4.
I'm calling Maryland, so.
March 13th of March. 13th.
Hi, Marilyn.
I have been listening.
You have, okay, so they're just going over their shifts, right, for town meeting. I'm gonna turn you around so you can see the board and they can see you. Can you see everybody?
Hi.
I don't know if you can see, I know you can
Yeah.
see me.
All right, you just
There
need-
you go.
can
Yeah.
do-
There you go.
Good.
All right,
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
So we just did the schedules
Yeah.
for the selectmen being at the town meeting.
Okay.
any changes from last year's plans?
No,
Then?
I would request a microphone again.
Yeah, we have hopefully a better sound system. We'll have that set up for you.
Can we have a couple of kids or Boy Scouts run the microphones for the crowd?
Oh, lost connect.
Are you
No,
there?
we don't need anybody. That's the whole point of having the microphone on a stand. It's a best practice for town meeting. The
Is to have
microphone
them come up
in
to the
middle of
mic.
room up front on a stand. Yeah, so you don't need anybody to run around with the microphone.
All right, so would you ask people to come up and form a line for those who want to speak?
Right.
Yes,
And we would eliminate
Yes.
the spontaneity of the crowd?
right.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a much better practice for a lot of reasons.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
All right,
So there were two issues that I had. The
Okay.
first was an issue with town council, Marilyn. On the actual voting, the ballot voting, and the zoning amendment. Because we are changing an entire section of the zoning ordinance, town council had just recommended that we have a copy of the new language at town meeting. So do you mind if we put that outside in the entryway, at those small tables in the rec?
Yeah,
So that
we
people
can,
can read them? Because town council doesn't want somebody to have to vote without being able to look at
Is
the
it
actual
appropriate
language.
to write a brief summary of a half-page brief summary? Would that be allowable?
Yes, it's just,
And not recommending,
That's right.
but what is the essence of the change?
Yeah.
Because the change is really in response to a constitutional issue.
absolutely,
And it's not an intent to really change
right,
what we were regulating. It just tries to do it in a different way to comply with the, yeah,
Right.
I'll be more than glad to write a half a
Okay,
page.
and-
you
and
know,
I
about
just-
a quarter of a page or something.
okay.
And we
And-
can hand that out.
Yeah, and I just,
Otherwise, we'd have no idea. I mean,
Right.
you can't read these things.
No. well, I just wanted to get around the electioneering potential issue. You know what I'm saying, Marilyn? As far as, it's just an informational thing, it's not a support for or against or anything, it's just the info itself. So, if
Well,
you
if
can
you
allow
bring
that
it
in
up-
the building,
yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's not like.
all right, okay, good.
Yeah, so we'll decide that on Tuesday, whenever, where the best place to put it is.
Okay, and the other issue that I had was we have bond warrant articles.
See
And,
that?
and so that's something we haven't done for a few years. So the requirement is that the voting must be open for an hour and it is by written ballot. So you're gonna have to work with the town clerk who is here, to, set that up for counting and everything else and, just be ready for that. And then whether or not we're going to go through each of the presentations and do the voting all at once, or if you're gonna stand up at the end of each warrant article and let people vote and then go on to the next article. So I think that's a discussion, if you guys have an opinion or a preference, is there a way that you want us to do it? Do you have a preference, Marilyn?
I think if you, I think that it's much easier to, it's three issues, right?
That's
It's,
correct. Yeah.
Articles 3, 4, and 5, I think.
Yeah,
Okay, so I think it's much less disruptive for everybody to only get it once. So we'll try to organize it so that we have 3 boxes out that are clearly
yep,
marked articles 3, 4, and 5, and then we should have 3 different colors.
Yep.
So that, the red box and the red
Right.
ballot match.
Yep.
The box and the
we
blue.
have those, we
And
have
we'll
those.
instruct them to get
And you'll also, if you have the,
Yeah.
situation where someone calls for a paper ballot on some of the other ones,
We'll have
we'll
extra.
we'll have.
we'll have
at least
extra
enough
boxes.
To cover a few of those.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
for the presentations, the town core working group wants to do a presentation on Article 4, which is the entrance to town. And then
Yeah,
somebody, either myself or somebody else, will do presentations on Corcoran Pond Dam and well number 3. So we're gonna have 3 to 5 minute presentations before the questions and answers, and that's okay?
Yeah, we've always done that.
you have
Yeah.
up to 10.
Okay, good.
So is it appropriate to ask is this an appropriate time to ask who will be giving the presentation for the sign and the road construction? Because I want to contact them.
I believe it's Wendy Rathgaber and Tom
I heard it's
Gross.
Tom Gross.
I think Tom Gross, so,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so I'll call them both and find out who it is.
yeah.
And just let them know that. Can you still hear me? Because I don't
Yeah.
have a
Yes.
Your connection's pretty poor.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have you.
So, okay, so, because I want to tell them that I really like them to keep think after that, people sort of, not that it wouldn't be interesting, but people sort of lose attention pretty quickly. So I just want to talk about that, but you've already talked with them, coordinated whatever slides,
Yes.
PowerPoints.
Yes.
They'll take care of all that. Okay.
Yep.
I have a feeling from talking to people in town that Article 4 could be controversial.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has got that in their ear.
Yep.
Article
Yeah.
4 is the one on the
Town
signs
entrance.
in the road, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think
Yes.
you're right.
Yeah.
So, of course, somebody will call the issue, but I really feel that there's a little bit of judgment involved. I think that you want to give people a little bit of time to talk about it. It really annoys me when people call the question as soon as we open it up to the floor. So, I will override it. But so what I heard was that the possibility of an amendment coming in to ask for, I don't know, some amount of money for just the sign and to kind of hold off on the sidewalk part.
I don't know.
You can't amend these bond articles. The way that they would handle that, the only way I can think of to handle that is to defeat the article and then amend the budget, instructing the selectmen to use that money for a sign. That would
Why
be,
would you defeat the article?
Well, no,
You'd have to approve the article,
no,
otherwise we don't have the
No.
monies.
no, what I'm saying is, what she's saying is some reduced amount of money
Right.
for just a sign.
Right,
So they can't amend, they can't change the
Bond
250 to a different amount,
right.
okay? So what they would have to do is, if someone wanted to do this, would be to defeat the 250 and then add to the overall budget in Article 15.
But we couldn't bond it.
We couldn't bond it.
Right, it would have to come out.
It would have to be cash or fund balance or whatever. But that would be the only other way.
Mark, if just because if the item got approved,
Yes,
there's no requirement that the money, in fact, has to be spent. If there was
That's
a
correct.
vote on a meeting of the sense of the meeting that said, we want you to put the sign up and not the other stuff, we could just do that, right?
that's correct.
Well,
We don't have to spend the money, right?
No, but it couldn't be just a sense of the meeting, Bill, because you need to come up with 50,000 or
No,
whatever.
he's saying,
No, no,
pass-
no,
no,
it's
he's saying
approved
approve
now.
the whole thing.
Approve
Yeah,
it,
approve
and
the
then
amount. but-
afterwards come back and
Oh,
say,
yeah, okay, but
Yeah.
it's one way or the other.
That's right.
But
It's
here,
one,
this is what I think Mark is saying, that if someone wants to come up and defeat this, they do not have the option to come in and say, but we do want to spend $50,000 on a sign and bond it.
that's correct.
They would have to, it has to be made clear that any money coming for, after this is defeated, would have to come out of
Go
our
onto the
operating
tax
accounts
rate.
and hit the tax rate, okay?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
okay.
Marilyn, before we go off this item, there is a chance that I might want to speak as a citizen on this item. What would be your preference, that I just go in line, get in line for the mic? I mean, not as a selectman, but as a citizen.
I know that the three of you are for it, because it says right on the article that the approval is 3-0.
Yeah, but I feel an explanation
So,
of,
I mean-
beyond what we have. It depends on what they present. But they may not cover why the issue of
Yeah.
why I think this is important to do. And if they don't, then I wanna be able to say that.
Well, I think a blanket statement would be that any one of us, as an elected official who wants to speak as a citizen, has to get in line and speak from the microphone.
Right.
We
Would that
can't-
be
we
your
can't speak
preference,
from
to
the
just
table.
get up from the table and go get in line, right?
I don't think we can talk from the table, can we?
I'm sure you can.
If you'd like to do it that way, I mean, that would be orderly.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier on you than us trying to get your attention and say, you know.
Right, so none of you are gonna speak to this at all, it's gonna be immediate, so one of you will read the article and that's gonna be turned over to the
That's
presenter.
correct.
That's
Right.
correct.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure what they're going to say.
Yeah,
Well,
And,
you'll know before town meeting what they're gonna say. You're gonna have the
That way, I
slides.
guess, yeah. Maybe more than you, Bill, want to speak to it, maybe all three of you do, but whatever.
We'll
maybe-
see what happens
maybe
when we
that's the
get
way
there.
to do it.
yeah,
See,
But I think as a
Yeah.
general rule, Marilyn, it makes more sense if we're speaking as private citizens, that we get in line with the other private citizens.
right.
Okay.
That's fine.
yeah,
All
right.
no, that's the point I was trying to
Thank
make, yeah. All right, great. Anything else on this, Marilyn? Are we all set? Mark, we all set with Marilyn?
Yeah,
Those
I-
were my two issues.
All right.
I think
Okay,
we'll have I'll start on the script and get that out to you guys in the
Okay,
next
great.
few days.
so we're all set. Marilyn, anything else, or are we done?
Yeah, I do, I have one question.
Okay.
Can one of you tell me who are the presenters besides the usual cast of, either selectmen, town manager, public safety? Are there any outside people besides Wendy or Tom Gross?
Not that we know of as of today.
No, we do not have any town engineer or anything
Yeah.
doing.
Okay, so if there's anybody out of the regular cast of people, can you let me know so that I
Sure.
can,
Yeah,
It'll be
Make sure I know.
reflected in the script.
who
Yeah.
they are?
We'll do that.
All right,
Okay, and so, this year we'll have a floor mic on a stand, on a
Yes.
stand. That'll be
Floor
good.
mic on a
That'll be
stand.
really good.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, thanks.
all right, thank you.
All right, thank you,
All
Marilyn.
right, great. All right, we
thanks, Marilyn.
move on. Any old business to move on to?
I do not have any old business.
Okay,
for-
there's a bunch of correspondence here, would you?
Well, there are a couple of things that came in after I sent you the packet during the day-to-day, including the Silver Fox, which is now WVRE Resort Enterprises or whatever LLC. They sent in a sign permit application because you notice the Best Western
It's
sign changed, has been changed to just a
Yeah.
simple blue and white Silver Fox Inn sign. So this
Oh,
is,
No, I
this
had
is
noticed.
the,
So it's no longer a Best Western.
it is
when
not a
was
Best
sold.
Western, so
Okay.
they had to take the Best Western down.
It's an okay
they-
Western.
They,
Okay,
they are saying that, that the sign was installed before they took ownership, so that's why you're getting, this is basically an after-the-fact thing. And they've also indicated to Sharon, I think, that this is a temporary sign and that there may be a more permanent sign.
is this an internally lighted sign,
It's a backlit sign, is what this says.
backlit?
I don't know, it's probably internally, yes. But it is backlit.
I'm gonna have to go read, I can't remember
I
what we
can't
wrote.
remember either,
I have to go
So-
read the regulations, as to
Yeah.
whether it's allowed or not allowed.
yeah. So could I get a
But
conditional,
Being as it's temporary,
well, but
can we grant them?
I don't know, I'd have to look.
Well, when they say temporary, we have it's fact, a definition of temporary that
That's right.
says you gotta get it off of there within
Right,
X 28 days.
yeah, and I don't think that's their
Their
intent
intent.
here. Their intent here is to leave that sign up until the weather changes and they can put in a more permanent sign. So it's temporary in the sense that probably before the next ski season, it would be replaced, if I had to guess.
Why don't we table this until we find out?
Yeah, it's an after the
Yeah,
facts
yeah.
permit anyway,
Yeah.
so the sign's
Yeah,
up,
I'll
so.
be more than glad to read the regulations,
Okay, so
today,
we
but,
will make a decision on March 13th, we'll
Yeah.
get a
because
vote.
I do know that the sign across the road
At the
at
Valley Inn?
the Valley Inn would not be approvable today.
Yeah.
Because it's an internally lighted, lit sign.
While we're on signs, the Mexican restaurant has got something in their window, a red sign, I don't know.
It's not, that's
Red-
internal, is
Okay.
it visible from,
You see it from 49, it's a red like neon sign. I don't know what it says, but I can't see that far.
well, if it's not readable, it's not a violation.
All right. So as long as any, no 9-year-olds are going by. they
From
can read
the-
it.
Yeah.
From the bridge,
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, you notice it at night when you're going.
4 o'clock the other morning, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Well, it was snowing pretty hard. All right, so, I'll just put decision on sign on
Yeah.
March 13th.
Okay.
And we'll
And
table
you
it.
explain to them why,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so they
no
understand
problem.
before they order a new sign.
Sure. Yep, they better read. And we have given them a, right, Sharon, we've
Yeah,
given them
they
a
should
copy.
read the new regulations.
We gave them a
Okay.
copy of the new regulations.
Right.
So,
Now, also, this other correspondence you have about bills being defeated and bills going
Yeah.
forward.
Yep.
I assume one of these is the changing of the methodology of state funding for schools?
1802 is from Jane Farini, it looks like this.
Yeah.
That is the one that it came out of committee at 15-6 to kill it.
Yeah.
That means it still gets voted on by the House, but it has a recommendation from the committee to
Okay.
defeat it. So that is a good thing. I understand they have not taken the vote as of today. The second one was from Mr. Sansucci. This is House Bill 320, started as House Bill 324, it's now House Bill 1381. This proposes to change the assessment of utilities,
Right.
right? Down to a, what is it called? Net book value as the basis for all utility assessments.
So what does that mean?
I have no idea what net book value is. Bill, do you know what net book value is?
No,
And
not,
by
it
any-
can,
so-
it can be, you can have so many different definitions, you know.
What's the book?
Yeah,
Seriously.
what-
What's it based
The
on
book-
now?
What the hell are they talking about?
Right now, it's based on replacement cost. But then they,
Well,
remember,
book
the
value
state,
then would be your assessed valuation, I'm assuming.
it would be your, what you would put in like your audit for your,
What value you would give
Assets.
it as an asset?
as an asset. And it would be,
I don't know,
it would be net of depreciation, I'm assuming.
is this I'm
This
sorry,
is
in the
commercial,
con-
this
all
is
commercial.
utilities, yeah, utilities,
These are the utility
Okay.
poles.
yeah.
Yeah. then
Utility
then
poles,
net book
underground
value
conduits.
would be the original cost to do it, less any depreciation.
Less depreciation.
Except are we talking about the cost of the pole, because it's the land, it's the issue.
Well, that's right.
Well,
and
you can't
see, that's what
depreciate
they're-
land, so.
No,
Well, that's what
so
they're-
I
assuming
understand.
land stays the same.
No, yeah, but that's,
they
I
don't own
think
the
what I think that's exactly the point though, is that they're just trying to get it on the poles and conduit and not
on
tax the
what
land.
is On the land.
That's right, just the
All right.
structures.
If you could
So,
call someone and find out what this
I'll-
really means,
I
that'd be
will.
great. All right, and we also have the town moderator's authority to
Yes.
postpone without the approval.
Yeah,
What does this one mean? Because this
Thi-
one's really
this
more
is the,
confusing.
Secretary of State got a legislator to sponsor a bill to, basically remove the moderator's authority to postpone town meetings. So the state law that we used last year would in effect be repealed or rescinded. The problem with it is that it affects other statutes. Probably unintentionally, they
But,
don't
yeah.
realize it, but it really causes a problem with the whole voting and town meeting deliberative sessions because of the language that they're using. NHMA has tried to get an amendment sponsored which would address those other issues, but they have not been able to do that. So I forwarded the email that's in your packet to Senator Bradley and just asked him to help us defeat the bill.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's a
He's a sponsor of the
he's
other
a
side of the bill.
supporter, he wasn't a sponsor, but he is a supporter of the bill. And so we don't really know, that vote is supposed to be next Thursday. So, but it could potentially create some problems with the deliberative session, so.
Okey-doke.
But I
Anything
guess
else in
we have done
correspondence?
what we can do. So if you guys know any legislators, tell them to please
Alright.
defeat these
Is it
bills.
that it for correspondence?
Yes, there were a couple of other things I wanna let you know. We have 4 abatements in the office.
Okay,
The deadline is tomorrow at 4 PM.
Request for abatement.
Request for
Yes.
abatements.
Okay.
Yeah. Applications. So we've received 4, which is pretty much in
Yeah.
line with what we
Okay.
usually get. And we talked about the water main, and I have 2 things in non-public session that I would like to talk to you about. And the final thing that I have is White Mountain National Forest and the Wenosha Integrated Resource
Yeah, I
Project is
saw
back.
that.
So there are,
They sent me a copy of.
yeah,
Right.
and you got a hard copy here at your, by you. So if there is something that you want us to respond to or to coordinate with the mountain, we have 30 days to respond to this.
I gather
Brooke.
what they're going to do with, it sounds to me like for the mountain biking,
Yeah,
they're going to ban mountain biking up there for all other than on a few trails, which, I'm not so sure that that's in our interest. I mean, I don't know how many people come here to go mountain biking,
That's
so.
right.
They don't use that language exactly, but they say their proposal is to make sure that all the dangerous trails are
Yeah.
no longer being used.
That's
Which
right.
I'm assuming they mean everything.
well, they,
And I don't know
well,
whether
I
we
think,
wanna do
I
that.
think it's a 2-part thing though. I think you're right about the banning on
Yeah.
certain trails, but they're also extending the trails from Drake's Brook all along the side of 49 where the power lines are.
Or they are
So
going
they-
to extend
they will-
it down so
they
it
will
would
ex-
connect up to the valley?
That's correct, and they,
Okay,
that's right.
well, that I'd be in favor of.
So
Right.
they,
Well,
so
okay.
there's an expansion of
Oh, then
the,
I don't have a problem. I
Yeah.
didn't read that.
yeah, so,
Okay.
so I think that's part of the plan, but I think those are the sorts of things that we should take a position as a town and say
I
that
th-
an
I think that's a
expansion,
wonderful idea.
right,
And
right,
my suggestion would be that they explore, rather than building more parking lots,
Right.
explore the possibility of using the parking lots that are available up at the ski mountain already,
right,
to house some of these cars,
that's right,
particularly if they extend the trail.
right. And
I also very much do like the proposal for the campground, to
Right.
convert that to an RV campground.
Absolutely,
That's what they're proposing to do. Now, I don't think they're gonna do any of this, but,
well,
you know.
they have been
But
doing
it-
it on the other side of Triple I Road, so
yeah.
maybe, who knows?
Nah, they just do plans. They never implement anything, because they can't get money.
Yeah. So, we would just, do you have positions on, a position
I haven't
on
read
either of those?
No, I haven't read it.
Well, it isn't, I mean, by the next meeting, we should, if you
Okay.
wanna write a letter from the town, we should have a,
okay.
there should be a vote and then we should write the
Well,
letter.
maybe can we get a copy of this at the post office with a thing to ask citizens input, or is it just for our input?
Citizens
It's
have a right.
for
Yeah.
any
I
public,
think we should get a copy at the post
Okay.
office and ask for people's input.
okay.
All right, so let's
we will-
move on to privilege of the floor number 2. I can tell that you're dying to say something, somebody out there.
Could we put this up on the website maybe?
Uh,
So people can read it?
Good idea.
We could.
Sure,
Okay.
just another way to
Yep.
get the info out there.
All right. So any new board concerns or directives? I guess not. So I think now we will take a vote. I'll make a motion that we go into non-public. Can I get a second on
I'll
that?
second that.
All in favor?
Do you have any?
Aye. We will go into non-public, and we
You
will
okay?
thank you folks for
You
coming
all
out today.
Well, you know,
Except for Friday. Your weekend's ruined again.
you know.
So